Well, the incoming House of Representatives, including 4 new members from North Carolina, won't have much of a honeymoon since the last group only passed a stopgap measure Tuesday to avoid the so-called fiscal cliff. That means North Carolina's House delegation will have a busy slate on their hands. For the first time in 50 years, both North Carolina's 8th and 9th districts have freshman incoming members being sworn in at the same time. And while their districts have different makeups, both Richard Hudson and Robert Pittenger promise they'll share a similar vision in how they'll represent the Charlotte region in Congress. Republicans Richard Hudson and Robert Pittenger say they're ready to get to work and work together in Washington.
We're here to get something done. We didn't run for Congress just to be in office.
Government needs to prioritize what's really important.
Both men who campaign on a strict agenda of cutting government spending and reining in federal costs now walk the balancing act in Congress. They must keep their promise to stick to conservative principles while also making sure resources are secured in their neighboring Charlotte area districts.
The main issues now are spending and jobs. And so I'm going to do everything I can to get the federal government out of the way of our job creators so we can put people back to work.
Pittenger, a former state senator, promised to focus on improving federal road projects and infrastructure in the Charlotte region.
You have people standing in parking lots trying to make their way in on 77 or 85 or Independence and whatever that road would be. And as provisions are made through our budgeting that we can allocate funding for roads, I certainly will be an advocate for that.
And both Richard Hudson and Robert Pittenger are assigned to congressional committees that represent their strengths and their districts. Richard Hudson will serve on the Agriculture Committee, while Robert Pittenger will serve on the House Committee on Financial Services. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Brad Broders, News 14, Carolina. After the 112th Congress was unable to find long-term compromise, the clock is now ticking for the 113th Congress to find compromises on long-term debt reduction and federal spending cuts. And among North Carolina's House delegation, there's different approaches on how to solve these long-term issues. A new year means another fiscal cliff crisis is hanging over Washington and among North Carolina's House delegation.
Well, I'm concerned that it will go down to the wire.
We've racked up a debt that we can hardly pay.
The last Congress passed a stopgap bill to avoid immediate spending cuts and tax increases, but it's only in place a couple of months. Between now and late February, Congress again must take up long-term debt and federal spending cuts to avoid another hit on the economy.
In my opinion, the solution is to cut spending.
We really cannot cut our way out of this problem that we have. We have to find additional revenues.
The stakes are high in North Carolina. Without an agreement in Congress, the state faces immediate defense cuts in March, which would be a huge blow to North Carolina's military backbone.
National defense is the #1 responsibility of the federal government. Let's honor that responsibility.
North Carolina farmers would also take a hit with no deal, with potential agriculture cuts hanging in the balance.
We really need to be doing the business of the country. We're years overdue on a farm bill, something as basic as a farm bill.
And North Carolina's House delegation is set to make its first significant vote of the 113th Congress Friday, when the body is set to approve a portion of the total relief package for Hurricane Sandy victims. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Brad Broders, News 14, Carolina.